U.S. aircraft carrier has arrived in South Korea for the first time in almost 5 years. The USS Ronald Reagan docked in the port city of Busan earlier today. The U.S. and South Korean navies will take part in joint drills next week. So joining us now to talk a little bit more about this is Josh Smith. He is a senior correspondent for Reuters. Josh, thanks for joining us. You're in South Korea right now. So, Josh, what do we know about these joint drills that are happening? How are they different than what we've seen before?
So officials down at the carrier just this morning did not provide many details about exactly what they're going to be practicing. But what they did emphasize was that they planned by drilling with the South Korean Navy is to increase their what they call interoperability, basically their ability to work together so that if a conflict ever did break out, they would already know, be very familiar with each other, know that their systems work together, things like that, to basically decrease the chances of any problems if they were ever called to fight together in a conflict. When I was at a separate military Army drill up near the demilitarized zone with North Korea 2 weeks ago, Army officials there said that they were basically envisioning scenarios where they fought an enemy who had at least as much capability as they had. So they were really trying to challenge the soldiers in that case, and presumably the sailors in this case in a similar way, basically throwing a lot of challenging scenarios at them so that they increase their capabilities.
What is the U.S. seeking to accomplish in sending this aircraft carrier to South Korea, and why has it been nearly 5 years since an action like this was taken?
So 2018 was the last time that any U.S. aircraft carrier was here in South Korea. And as you might recall, that was the year that former President Donald Trump held a series of quite unprecedented summits with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. And one of the things that came out of those summits at the time was a promise by the United States and South Korea to scale back some of these joint drills in an effort to kind of create room for diplomacy. In the end, those talks broke down. And earlier this year, we saw North Korea resume some of its major missile testing. It looks like it might start testing nuclear weapons again soon. And the other thing is that the pandemic has finally eased, which has also allowed some of these drills to go forward. So one of the scenes we saw when we met the carrier down there this morning was long lines of sailors and crew members coming off and going through COVID tests in order to go visit the city there in Busan. This is the kind of thing that even until recently was not possible under some of the pandemic rules.
So then, in the meantime, what has North Korea been up to? How are they reacting? What were they doing before this?
So earlier this year, they tested an unprecedented number of missiles, including some that they claimed had hypersonic warheads, as well as some of their long-range intercontinental ballistic missiles, which potentially, if they work, are designed to send a nuclear warhead as far as places like Washington, D.C. or New York. And this is something they haven't done since 2017. There are also signs that they may resume testing nuclear bombs at their nuclear test site. They've dug into some tunnels that they had previously closed, suggesting that they may resume this testing. And this is something that the United States and South Korea see as a very urgent question to try to stop in the short term North Korea from resuming that testing. At the same time, officials acknowledge that if North Korea does decide this is the path that it wants to go down, resume this nuclear testing, then there's basically nothing they can really do to stop it, that it's up to Kim Jong-un ultimately.
So what's the current diplomatic relationship between the United States and North Korea? My guess is that they're not exchanging love letters between Kim Jong-un and President Biden the way that the North Korean leader may have exchanged letters with the former president.
That's correct. There's not been any love letters lately that we know of. The diplomatic ties are nearly non-existent. Both sides don't keep any kind of embassies. However, they do have some informal contacts, for example, through the North Korean delegation that's at the United Nations and some other locations. But what we understand from a U.S. envoy who just visited here in Seoul actually this week is that their overtures to Pyongyang recently, including in recent months, offering talks, but also things like COVID aid and other humanitarian aid have gone completely unanswered by North Korea. And in public statements recently, Kim Jong-un came out and said that denuclearization talks are completely off the table. It's a non-starter, and that North Korea's status as a nuclear state is irreversible. And so the chances of talks resuming anytime soon do appear slim. And if they do, it seems like they'll be really starting from the beginning.
All right, Josh Smith, thank you very much for an interesting discussion. Appreciate it.
Thank you.